shot, 13.
Now this is one of those areas that just small plot, but there's a real purpose to this plot, and that's I don't like to make any improvement. It doesn't matter if it's a travel corridor, a bedding area, a food plot. If it doesn't relate to the rest of the property, even a water hole, then you know, you're better off not putting it in. You really want your improvements to all be linked and continuous and support each other. And so in this case right here, I've said before, I haven't shot a lot of mature bucks off food plots, and that's not because I don't think food plots are important. I think I had 18 acres in 3 states at one time with just my own hunting plots. I think it was over 30 plots. They're very important, and especially for that fall attraction and holding and keeping those deer and protecting them, advancing to the next age class, and of course keeping them on your property so you have a chance to shoot them. But this happens to be one of those plots that we have high hopes for of eventually connecting on a mature buck. The reason is there's a water hole about 75 yards behind me and into the woods. We have a great stand there that's one of our water hole stands. The deer come out of the bedding area behind that, and they hit the water. They come to this small narrow food plot that's not more than 15 yards wide, and then they advance up this way and they go out into the major fields, and that's where all our big food is. We have a 2-acre food source there up in the middle, and then we have another 2-acre around the corner, and there are all those long strips. I think that's 1,000 feet of food plot length between those two. But the whole idea is we really don't want those deer feeding here that long, especially if we're going to have a stand location here. The longer I keep deer here feeding next to a stand location, the higher the risk level it is for us as hunters to be able to get in and out of that stand without spooking deer. And if I'm going to continually spook deer on a food plot, you need to get rid of the food plot. I don't care how green it is, how perfect the soil it is, it's not in a good spot if you're going to spook deer off it. This happens to be a really cool stand location where we're actually accessing from the downhill side behind a lot of grass, a lot of weeds, a tree line fence row, where we're coming into the stand, and we really have to climb almost into the tree stand to even see to where I'm standing right now. So when a deer is out here, we've actually been able to get into the stand 25 yards away quietly, step into that stand, and not spook a deer that's feeding out on this little plot. This little plot runs about 100 yards long, 40, 50 feet wide. Deer get in here, it's long and narrow. More deer are coming, pushes the deer out that are here. Mature buck comes through. A lot of times it clears the deer out. Mature bucks like to cruise through here during the daytime. It's connected to a fence row here too. But again, we want these deer to come into this small plot, and we want them to continue out to the major food sources where they're very safe unless we touch them at a long distance with a bullet. And great archery setup, and like I said, don't hunt a lot on small plots, but this is one that if I had to bet, you know, I can see a mature buck being shot in this spot. Yeah, as I walk up this way, you can look up to the major fields where you can see that clump of pines behind me. That clump of pines is the corner of that large V plot that's it's probably 400 yards long. Each leg's about 200 yards long. Once they get up to there, you can see, you can't see into the plot from here. The deer can't see there. But once they're there, they know they're safe. We really don't want to spook those deer out of those main plots. Again, they're coming through this small plot from the water hole, from their bedding area. They pass through, we get a good look at them. Very confined space. We even have been lucky and had some trees that have fallen down into this plot and even constricted them closer to the tree stand. We can get in and out of the tree without spooking deer that are out here. We basically can walk around this plot along the wood line about 70 yards away with a roundup trail quietly, and with the right wind we don't spook deer here too. So between this location right here and the water hole where they're coming from, great setups, a little bit different winds for both of them, so we get a lot of use between these two stand locations. And it's one of our hot spots on the property. We've had some real big mature bucks we've gotten close to here. My friend Rich had a real close one last year that he's hoping for a little redemption on this year. And we saw him, he's still alive in January, February, so that'd be great for Rich to come back and get a good shot at that one. But again, high hopes for this, and we're just moving deer through, and that's to me what makes a good hunting plot. You don't want any dead ends with those hunting plots. You don't want those deer to come there and just sit till dark. You can't get in and out without spooking them, and that's a bad plot.